Good evening. I've got a smile on my face, but it was a rough day for a lot of people out there today. First day after the tariffs. And this is your metal market wrap up, and this is for Thursday. And we're sitting here now at April 3rd, 2025. So, very shortly, you're going to see a bunch of tariffs come actually on through next week. It's going to get very interesting. Let's take a look first at some of the day's news, and then we'll get into this. You're going to get in the morning the new U.S. farm payroll. I'm seeing numbers between 125 to 140,000 new jobs. I'm seeing that they're estimating that the unemployment rate stays about 4.1% and the month-over-month increase in wages up about 0.3. Well, that's what you look at as your neutral numbers. Now, do we get something bearish or bullish off of that? And given all the circumstance of the market, just how much does it matter? That becomes the bigger question. You have three Fed speakers. You got Fed Chair Powell tomorrow coming out at 11:25 a.m. That's Eastern time, followed by Michael Barr at noon Eastern time, and then followed by Christopher Waller at 12:45 p.m. Eastern time. So you can see what they'll be doing. Everybody will be looking to see, do they make any comments one way or the other? Another big event happened today that caught the market fully off guard. OPEC held a meeting online, and 8 OPEC countries have agreed to increase the output by 411,000 barrels a day next month. That's the equivalent of triple what they had agreed to do for the month of April. Remember, they were increasing now about 134,000. They're going up to that. They're citing, and don't believe this for a second, they're citing healthy market fundamentals and a positive market outlook. Do you believe that? Because if you do, there's some bridges in New York you might want to buy. Basically what it is they can't bring in some of the countries that are overproducing. And instead, what they're going to do is what they did to Russia. If you remember, Saudi and Russia got into that terrible battle about oil, and they drove it down where oil fell apart in price. Well, now they're going to punish those countries until they come in. They'll figure out what they do in June and so on. But that combined with the tariffs was the kiss of death, and oil had one of its worst days in years today. I mean, in years. So it went tumbling down. All right. So let's go back to the charts and talk about what we have here. In the stock market, you're down to the 5,400 level already in the S&P. The gold market, you're not reading it wrong. It's 31.32, and that's up. Yesterday, this market was pushing $3,200 an ounce. And as I said, going into the tariffs, very much the buy the rumor, sell the fact news. And by the evening, as we rotated around, remember when I did this? I said Asia hasn't opened. They'll take their own take on this whole tariff play and what's going on. Then Europe, and by the time you come in the morning, you don't know what you're going to have. Well, what you had was a correction day in the metals. This is not a misprint in the silver. It was down almost $3 an ounce today. Copper, this is a market that a week ago was 540. It's back to 480 right now. So corrections are hitting from every sector. Look at the energy. You're down in the U.S. crude, and when you go to my financial update, you'll see how much it was down today, a whopping number. Bonds and notes. Now, in the 10-year note, you're pushing 4.01, 4.03%. Are you going to get under the 4? I don't know. It might want to hold right here. And the currencies are probably going to start trying to resemble something more stable after today's monster swings where the dollar, this is a rally of 80 points off the low. So while you were down 269 at the low point today, you were down roughly 250 points, and you were up a like amount in the euro. So when I left you yesterday, the euro was up just a few points, and the market exploded from there. All right. As you know, President Trump sent out his minions today to say, Peter Navarro, there's no negotiation. Do not believe that man. The president on the plane said already today, as he was this afternoon on his plane, he's going, well, if I was offered something phenomenal and people are calling, well, we would consider that, but he didn't define the word phenomenal. Remember, you just had Navarro say there's going to be no negotiation. This is it. Now you have the president. If you offered me something phenomenal, here's what they're setting you up for: the art of the deal. What you get is one gentleman going out under the president's guidance and saying, no, no, no. And the president saying, well, now if you offer me something phenomenal, but they don't define what that might be. So while we're feeling this house of pain, as you call this, coming in, the negotiation process very quietly is already beginning. Already Mexico's sending its delegates into Washington. Other countries are. Everybody will talk. They'll make offers, and what Trump is going to say is no. And then eventually somebody's going to say something to get the attention. It'll be yes, and everybody else will look and go, okay, that's what we got to do, or something along that line. Tariffs alone won't work. The president's made it clear that on a convoluted method where he alone decided with his crew what the tariffs of other countries are. And I looked at the math of it, and I'm not a math wizard by any stretch, all right? I trade, I know numbers, I can do a lot of things in my head. They came up with a formula that I couldn't understand, and I was so pleased to hear Steve Leisman really criticize it and said he contacted economists all over. Nobody can make heads or tails. He said they made up something to come up with numbers. I accept that. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a hard thing to do, what they're doing, taking VAT tax, taking currency moves, and taking the tariffs themselves and trying to figure out what percentage does that equate to as a tax. It doesn't matter. It's a negotiating ploy. And on that ploy, the big question is, and remember this, is this going to lead us to negotiation or a recession? I believe that Trump will cry uncle at some point. We're not there. You're not there. And as he said, the pain in the stock market's not over. But when it ends, it'll end because countries are caving in. You'll go to the doorway, I hope, of a recession and back away from it. And he'll have accomplished many of the things, keeping that 10% tariff. And if you're a higher tariff than that right now, you probably won't get that whole thing removed right away. He'll probably do it in stages. That would be what I would do if I were negotiating. Going, well, we can do something for you here, but we want more. Go back and draw something up and we'll do something for you. We'll see if that's how it's going to work, if he's going to demand everything at one time from that country. Sometimes the best deal's the deal you get right up front and you don't do it in pieces. But I believe he set the tone today with the word phenomenal. The countries now know the door is open. What is phenomenal? You got to find that key. So when you look at the gold market, it's still up 0.76 for the week. It's up for the week $23. All right. You had a huge correction in the market today. If we step back together here, and here we go, you can see the market's range was 31.9660, and then it fell $123, and then it rallied back, and it closed $44.50 lower. All right? Now tonight, where you're at is the market is up 9 of those dollars. Remember we were talking the other day and I said, and this was yesterday, by the way, the other day, you had higher lows, higher highs. And now the 18-day average had moved into a position where I think that's going to be the support zone in the market. Tell me you didn't make a run at that today, as it turns out. I still say that is your support zone. The market, I would not want to see it take this out because that would end this whole upthrust. And if the market runs again, which I think it'll have trouble getting back up here, the 3,200 level, by the way, now, I think the resistance is going to be closer to 3178. And you lost the bullish embedded reading. So when you lose that reading, and I'm going to carry you into this so you see how it finished up, at the close of business today, you lose it. Often, that means that you're going to go to the closest moving average before you go back through that high. It can be a combination of the average moving up and prices moving down. And that's where I think you're at, right here, right now. Remember this. This is what I call my enhanced Bollinger Band course because you're tying together this with the Bollinger Bands. I'll talk about it right at the end of this if you haven't taken the course. When you look at the gold-silver ratio, you're sitting here at 98.15. It's been as high as the 120s. So there's room to run. Why did it do that? Well, first, the silver market was down dramatically. Let's look at how much it was down today. Silver was down on the day. Let's get to, I'm sorry, there. Let me get back. It's one more here. There we go. Okay. 7.73%, $2.68. So if you think this isn't a big break, it was. Where did the market stop? The market went all the way down, went through the Bollinger Band to the 100, then the 200-day average, and now on rallies, it'll probably have trouble as it tries to get back inside the Bollinger Band. But I have been telling you over and over each night that silver is not a precious metal. And I told you that the traders that I saw on CNBC that were putting on call spreads that silver can catch up with gold, number one, I didn't think they were right in their analysis. Let's start there. Number two, tariffs can affect gold on a bullish mood, but however, it had been digesting that, and silver really didn't go with it very much. That's how the ratio got out here into the 90s to begin with, all right? And when you got the correction, it's because if we go into a recession, silver used in all kinds of electronics and so on, big problem with it. Copper, they're going to deliver like mad copper. I told you that. It's going to come very close to where the London Metal Exchange price is, in my opinion, and you can see that it's working on that right now. And lo and behold, you're just about to get to that lower Bollinger Band in an oversold market. The price is around the 478.15 level. You're ready for 80.80. So this I expected. If you're asking me one market that I expected this to happen in, I have been preaching as it was coming up this way. I said, folks, please be careful. Everybody's shipping copper because nobody knows if copper is going to be on the tariff list or not. So they're shipping, take advantage of the two. And if you get the tariffs and they're not on the list, no tariffs on it, well, why did it go up in the first place that much? And that's what you're doing. You're coming back to a bit of reality. Platinum literally fell apart on this. So there's one precious metal, period. You know, if you were to ask me, is platinum a precious metal? Yes. You know, there's platinum wedding rings. You see that all the time. However, it's 1/3 the price of gold. Silver is what percentage? At $30 versus roughly 3,000. So you get the idea. I hope you get the idea. You don't have to agree with me, but it's unimportant. I believe that. In the dollar index, you fell hard, as you can see, and got under the Bollinger Band. It's your first move under it. We'll see tonight if it can stay there. Here's what's wrong with this and why the dollar can go lower. This narrowness right here is very bothersome to me. That is how big moves come. Big moves don't come when the band's this wide. You hit the band and you get your reactions. But once you narrow that band in and spin, and I teach that in the Enhanced Bollinger Band course, a different setup shows itself. So that's where I think you're at in the markets right now. It's Friday coming tomorrow. You're liable to get some evening up in the marketplace. Be aware of that. Traders want to take a break. The stock market's lost just recently 2.6 or $2.7 trillion. Today alone, the Mag 7 lost $1 trillion. So when you take my course on the Bollinger Band, because we talk about it here all the time, you can work with it in both long and short-term trends. It doesn't matter the chart you're using. It can be a 15-minute chart, a 5-minute, a 1-day, a 1-month, 2-month. With the course, you're going to get, and let's stop right here. You're going to get access to the charting software you see me using here. You're going to get access to my morning subscriber videos for a couple of weeks so that you get to see me in play saying buy here, sell there, do that exactly as I think you use it, and you get the course itself. It is inexpensive, and it will stick with you. I really predict that that'll be the case. So you can go look at it before you commit, and we're not talking big money. It's iraepstein.com, education. There's 2 other courses there as well. Educate yourself because you hear me talk about it all the time. It's not magic. There's a way to use this. I'm Ira. Have a good evening.